Hello and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Germany on the second leg of his three-nation tour to Europe and North America. We'll get you all the details. That is the big story. Also, there has been another Naxal attack in Chhattisgarh. But first up, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi begins visit to Germany, meets the top German CEOs to promote Make in India initiative. Will also attend the Hanover Fair, where India is the partner nation this year. Maoist strike again in Chhattisgarh. Torch 17 vehicles in Kanker a day after killing 7 Jawans. Alerts issued across 10 states to nab the attackers. Hillary Clinton all set to enter the US presidential race today with a low-key start to her campaign. And India wins bronze in Aslan Shah Cup Hockey Championship, beats South Korea in third place playoff through penalty shootout. Our top story: in the second leg of his three-nation tour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Germany's Hanover today. In an effort to boost Make in India campaign, he met German business leaders on day one of the tour. Now, Modi will visit the Hanover Fair, where India is the partner nation this year. He will also hold talks with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel next week.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Hanover in Germany on Sunday on the second leg of his three-nation tour to boost his Make in India campaign. He was given a rousing welcome by the Indian community at the Maritime Grand Hotel in Hanover.
We are here to show our support. We believe in him and we believe that India will have a bright future under his leadership.
He's bringing a new brand. The brand image of India is growing quite aggressively. I think that's what we are missing for a long.
Soon after his arrival in Hanover, Modi held a roundtable conference with top German CEOs. He was accompanied by Commerce and Industry Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. He is set to hold an informal dialogue with Chancellor Angela Merkel during a walk through the Hanover Messe Industrial Fair. India is the partner nation at the fair, in which around 400 Indian companies are participating this year. This will be the largest participation so far by Indian companies at the Hanover Fair.
भारत अपार संभावनाओं का देश है। चीन पुरातन संस्कृति की धरोहर लेकर के आधुनिक भारत अपनी विकास यात्रा को आगे बढ़ा रहा है। जर्मनी भी एक बहुत बड़ा हमारा भागीदार है, साझेदार है। जर्मन बहुत सारी कंपनियां भारत में हैं। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में जर्मनी का बहुत बड़ा योगदान हिंदुस्तान की धरती पर है।
I think the Smart Cities project is long overdue, and Prime Minister Modi's initiative is just right. I think Indian cities need to evolve into much better cities. Just to give you a number, there are only 9 cities in the US that are 1 million plus. There are 53 Indian cities that are 1 million plus. And the amount of work in urbanization that happens in the US is much, much higher. So after a long time in this sector, I'm seeing governments getting serious about cities.
Modi and Merkel will inaugurate the Indian Pavilion and will walk together as they discuss the potential for German manufacturers to make in India. The two leaders are also expected to address a joint conference after holding talks in Berlin on Tuesday. The Prime Minister is also scheduled to visit a railway station in Berlin amid his government's agenda of modernizing railways. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ended his first leg of Europe tour by wrapping up his visit to France. Deal on Rafale jets and backing from Airbus for Prime Minister's project Make in India was some of the key highlights of the three-day visit. During his address to the Indian diaspora, Modi also made a strong pitch for a seat in the UN Security Council, calling it India's right.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrapped up his three-day France visit on Sunday after a meeting with French President François Hollande. During his tour, India ordered 36 ready-to-fly Rafale fighter jets. The two nations also decided to move ahead with the log-jam Jaitapur nuclear project. With Make in India being the theme, the two sides signed about 20 pacts covering areas like civil nuclear energy, urban development, railways and space. France also pledged €2 billion for sustainable development in India as the Prime Minister invited investments and technology. Aircraft manufacturer Airbus has also agreed to invest €2 billion over the next 5 years to enhance outsourcing to India.
The visit was extremely successful. It met all the key goals that were targeted, and we hope this will enhance our ties with France and take them to the next level.
Hollande would chair a high-level meeting in Paris on Monday to thresh out the finer details of the deal for the sale of 36 Rafale jets in flyaway conditions. However, the deal to buy 126 Rafale jets has not been finalized yet. The nitty-gritty of the Rafale jets deal is yet to be worked on. French President François Hollande said that the Defence Minister of France would travel to India soon to finalize the deal.
Now that there is an agreement in principle, please give some time for the nitty-gritty to be worked out, and I assure you, once this is worked out by the technical people, these will be certainly made public.
During Modi's visit, 26/11 attack mastermind Lakhvi's release from jail drew sharp criticism from the French government itself. It decided to set up a joint working group on counter-terrorism with India.
What has been agreed to is that, as a first step, a joint working group on counter-terrorism will meet forthwith, and they will try and work out what would be the modalities of greater cooperation in this respect. It is certainly a priority area both for France and for India to enhance our ties in this area.
Modi also addressed the Indian community in Paris on Saturday night. Speaking in front of huge gathering, Modi underlined India's rightful place at the United Nations Security Council.
शांति के लिए जीने मरने वाला ये देश यूनाइटेड नेशन में सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में सीट पाने के लिए तरस रहा है कि आज जब प्रथम विश्व युद्ध की शताब्दी में गुजर रहा है, तब ये अवसर है शांति दूतों के सम्मान का। ये अवसर है गांधी और बुद्ध की भूमि को उसका हक देने का।
Modi also became the first Indian Prime Minister to pay tribute to the thousands of Indian soldiers who laid down their lives during the First World War at a memorial in Neuve-Chapelle. He was also accorded the Guard of Honor, following which he laid wreath at the memorial. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, back home, Maoists struck in Chhattisgarh for the second consecutive day today, almost 24 hours within its deadly attack in Sukma. Now, 17 vehicles were allegedly torched in Kanked district today. 10 states, including Chhattisgarh, have been put on high alert after the attacks. Now, a search operation has also been launched to nab the Naxals.
Within 24 hours of the Sukma attack, Maoists struck again in Chhattisgarh on Sunday. They allegedly torched 17 vehicles engaged in mining work in Kanked district. Police confirmed the incident and said no one was hurt in the attack. The incident comes a day after 7 Jawans lost their lives in an ambush in Sukma. In view of the attacks, security forces in 10 Naxal-affected states have been asked to maintain high alert. The NDA government assured all necessary assistance to the state to deal with the situation.
पहली बार इतनी बड़ी घटना हुई है कि एसटीएफ के जवान इतनी बड़ी संख्या में शहीद हुए, तो निश्चित रूप से बहुत टफ इलाका है, बहुत ही उनका इलाका है जिस इलाके में जाना दुस्साहस का काम होता है। वही काम एसटीएफ के जवान करते रहे, हमेशा चुनौती देते रहे।
However, opposition parties blame the Raman Singh government for failing to tackle the Maoist menace in the state.
Incidents देखते of Maoist attacks, उनमें बहुत तब्दीली करने की कोशिश हमारी सरकार ने किया था और उसमें कुछ हमें सफलताएं भी मिली थी, परंतु हम सबको साथ मिलकर इस समस्या को समाप्त करने की आवश्यकता है।
Although this is the duty of the state government, Chhattisgarh government, to provide necessary information, inputs and guidance to these armed forces, but they have always failed.
Meanwhile, bad weather and hostile terrain continues to hamper the evacuation process in Sukma. Bodies of the Jawans killed in the attack remain at the site nearly 24 hours after the incident. The injured personnel are undergoing treatment at Raipur and Jagdalpur.
अभी तक जवानों के शव वापस नहीं लाए जा सके हैं। मैंने वहां कुछ वरिष्ठ अधिकारियों से संपर्क भी किया। खराब मौसम की वजह से ये कार्रवाई नहीं हो पा रही है।
7 special task force personnel were killed and 11 others injured on Saturday when a group of about 300 Naxals ambushed them in the forests of Sukma district. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in other news, in a move to tackle stiff market competition, the State Bank of India has announced a cut in home loans as well. For new borrowers, the interest rate on home loans has been reduced up to 0.25% to 9.9%. A base rate of 9.85% has been aligned for women borrowers. With this reduction, the EMIs are also set to go down further. The revised rates will come into effect from Monday. Earlier, HDFC had also announced reduced interest rates last week. And J&K Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed has assured to take all stakeholders on board amid protests over Centre's proposal to provide settlements to displaced Kashmiri Pandits. Now, Mufti said that his government is committed to bring back the displaced Pandits, but he ruled out any separate clusters for them.
The valley remains tense with protest over the issue of resettlement of Kashmiri Pandits. As the state government considers setting up separate settlements for the Kashmiri Pandits, Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed called on opposition parties to work towards inclusive growth. Mufti said that the state is the biggest challenge that India faces.
मैं बड़े कनवास पे काम करूंगा, मैं हर एक को साथ लेने की कोशिश करूंगा. It is the determination and will of the people which will count. और इस जम्मू कश्मीर को इस गैर यकीनियत के फिजा से निकाल के इज्जत और आबरू का मकाम बनाना है.
But alliance partners PDP and BJP have themselves been speaking in different voices. Home Minister Rajnath Singh made it clear that the centre was going ahead with its plan to rehabilitate Kashmiri Pandits. However, Mufti said he will take all stockholders in confidence, but not at the cost of the respect and dignity of the Kashmiri Pandits.
We will take into account all the stakeholders. जो हमारे मेन स्ट्रीम के पार्टियां हैं, उनके अलावा भी हम लोगों को इन्वॉल्व करने की कोशिश करेंगे. अगर हम अपनी मिली जुली तहजीब को जिंदा रखना चाहते हैं, तो हमारी कोशिश ये होगी कि उनको वापस लाएं. वापस लाने के लिए एक माहौल शोर से नहीं बनेगा. इसको हमने कनेक्ट करने की जरूरत है.
President of the Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti, Sanjay Tikku, urged the state and central governments to constitute a select committee of Pandits living in the valley and task them with the resettlement. Many feel the situation is still not conducive for their return.
सिक्योरिटी का एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है. एक चीफ मिनिस्टर को ऐसा बोलना कि सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है, तो फिर वो तो मतलब ये तो प्रॉब्लम का हिस्सा है फिर वो.
Several people have already been injured on Friday in clashes between police and Yasin Malik's JKLF supporters who were protesting against the proposal. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And some more national news in Nationwide. One person was killed and 3 others were injured in a grenade blast in Udalguri district in Assam on Sunday. The grenade exploded near a market in Rota area. Now, the injured people have been admitted to a local hospital. Senior police officials were rushed to the spot who have initiated investigation. The power tariff in Delhi may see a steep rise of up to 20% if Delhi Electricity Regulatory Commission accepts a demand of the 3 private power distribution companies. Currently, the DERC is in the process of reviewing the power tariff for 2015-16. Sources say that 3 private power distribution companies have sought up to 20% hike in tariff to meet the rising cost of power procurement. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal urged the centre to release more funds to develop the national capital. At a public rally in Delhi today, Kejriwal said that the tax share received by his government is not sufficient to develop the colonies. He said water, sewer, roads, drains, street lights and cleanliness of the colonies are some of the key priority areas for his government. Truckers Association went on a strike against the National Green Tribunal's order banning 10-year-old diesel vehicles from plying in the national capital. The associations have stopped moving goods in and out of Delhi, protesting against the ban. The members of the association also met the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, seeking his intervention to remove the ban. Shiv Sena held protests in Delhi against the release of 26/11 attack mastermind Zakir Rahman Lakhvi from Pakistan jail. Lakhvi was released last week after a Pakistan court termed his detention as illegal. Now, the release provoked a sharp rebuke from India, with the centre lodging a strong protest with Pakistan. News Tonight will take a very short break, but coming up ahead, Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis in the finals of the Family Circle Cup after surviving a closely fought semi-final. Stay with us for that and much more. Welcome back. After the break, on to some international news now. Well, former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is expected to kick off her 2016 presidential campaign in a short while from now. The announcement will start with a video and social media push. Now, Clinton would be the first Democratic candidate to confirm a run for the White House, and if she were to win in 2016, she would become the first female US president. Former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is likely to have another go at the presidential race. After months of speculation, she is set to announce her candidature as a Democrat on Sunday. She is likely to make the announcement through a video message on social media, followed by small-scale events where she is likely to answer questions from ordinary voters.
Well, it is true. I am thinking about it. And I suppose it's only fair to say, don't you someday want to see a woman president of the United States of America?
Hillary had lost her first presidential bid to Barack Obama in 2008. This time Clinton enters as the favorite among Democrats, while also polling far ahead of any potential Republican rival so far. She also earned praise from Obama ahead of the announcement.
She was a formidable candidate in 2008. She was a great supporter of mine in the general election. She was an outstanding Secretary of State. She is my friend. I think she would be an excellent president. And I'm not on the ballot. So, I'm not going to step on her lines. When she makes a decision to announce, I'm confident that she will be very clear about her vision for the country moving forward if she announces.
Clinton has been hinting about a possible second run for the White House for months, laying the groundwork with multiple visits to states with early primaries and caucuses. With a formal announcement, Hillary Clinton would join the presidential race with two Republicans. Numerous polls have shown Clinton holding an edge over nearly all the Republican hopefuls. She also trounced most of her potential opponents in a Democratic primary. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And Turkey has reacted sharply to Pope Francis's remark describing the mass killing of Armenians under Ottoman Empire during World War I as genocide. Now, Turkey conveyed its loss of trust in relations with the Vatican after the remarks. Following the statement, the Turkish Foreign Ministry summoned the ambassador of Vatican to convey its disappointment. Now, conducting a Holy Mass at the Vatican marking the 100th anniversary of the Armenian massacre, the Pope had called it the first genocide of the 20th century. The ceremony was also attended by the Armenian president. Turkey has consistently denied that the killings were genocide.
Un sentito saluto ai fedeli armeni che sono venuti a Roma e hanno partecipato alla Santa Messa con la presenza dei miei fratelli, i tre patriarchi e numerosi vescovi.
And there has been no respite from fighting in Yemen between the Houthi-led militants and the local militia there. Now, heavy Saudi-led airstrikes battered military camps in the Yemeni capital of Sana'a on Saturday. The strikes targeted military bases loyal to former President Ali Abdullah Saleh. According to the defense spokesman, the Saudi-led coalition has conducted 1,200 sorties since the beginning of airstrikes on Yemen. More clashes were also reported in Muala, Burika and Dardad districts of Aden on Saturday. According to the United Nations, the conflict has killed 600 people, wounded 2,200 and displaced 100,000 others since September last year.
نحن نعلم ولدينا من الأدلة الشيء الكافي أن من يدرب ويمول ويدعم هذه الميليشيات هي الحكومة الإيرانية والميليشيات التابعة لها مثل حزب الله، ولذلك تواجدهم بين المقاتلين التابعين للميليشيات الحوثية أمر غير مستبعد.
Now, US President Barack Obama held a historic meeting with his Cuban counterpart Raul Castro in Panama on Saturday. The meeting marks the first formal talks between the two countries in more than 50 years. The two countries aim to end the Cold War enmity that had led to a total freeze of diplomatic ties. Now, Obama has said that the meeting will help both nations turn the page after decades of hostility. The Panama summit witnessed the historic meeting between US President Barack Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro. A one-to-one unscheduled meeting marked the thaw in diplomatic relations between the two nations. It was the first time the top leaders of the two countries sat down for substantive talks in more than 50 years. Obama called the meeting historic, while Castro said he would continue taking steps to normalize relations between the two former foes.
This is obviously a historic meeting. The history between the United States and Cuba is obviously complicated, and over the years a lot of mistrust has developed. But during the course of the last several months, there have been contacts between the U.S. and the Cuban government.
En otras ocasiones le hemos manifestado a algunos amigos norteamericanos que nosotros estamos dispuestos a discutirlo todo.
We have said on previous occasions to some American friends that we are willing to discuss every issue between the United States
Sobre
and Cuba.
todo esas cuestiones y otras muchas.
We are willing to discuss about those issues that I have mentioned
De Cuba,
and about many others.
However, Cuba remains on the US list of countries that sponsor terror. Obama said that he hadn't yet decided whether to remove Cuba from the list, an outcome that had previously been expected during the summit.
The issue of the state sponsor of terrorism list, as you know, the State Department has provided a recommendation. It's gone through our interagency process. I'll be honest with you, I have been on the road, and I want to make sure that I have a chance to read it, study it, before we announce publicly what the policy outcome is going to be.
Obama announced in December that he was seeking to renew diplomatic relations with Cuba after half a century of strife, including eventually opening embassies in Washington and Havana. Though there were no major decisions during the talks, it is seen as US's highest level engagement with the Cuban government since then Vice President Richard Nixon met with Fidel Castro in 1959. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And some more international news and updates in Global Buzz. A student was killed and more than 100 were injured in a stampede at Kenyan University today. The incident took place after students mistook a transformer explosion for a terrorist attack. The mayhem led students to jump out of the hostel window. The incident comes days after the Al-Shabaab attack at the Garissa University, in which 148 people, mostly students, were killed. Bangladesh hanged a top Jamaat-e-Islami leader Mohammad Kamaru for committing war crimes and mass killing during Bangladesh's 1971 War of Independence. Kamaru was hanged at Dhaka Central Jail late last night after the Supreme Court rejected his appeal against death sentence. The security has been stepped up in Dhaka over fears of backlash from his supporters. The US Capitol in Washington, D.C. was locked down for nearly 2 hours after a gunman shot himself outside the building. Police took the security measure right after the shots were heard near the seat of the US Congress. Police is also investigating a suspicious package believed to be the gunman's suitcase on the lower west terrace of the Capitol building. Time for all the sporting action now in Sports Beat. India defeated South Korea on penalties in the third playoff match in Aslan Shah Cup today. India won the bronze medal with the help of goalkeeper Srijesh, who pulled off 2 crucial saves to help his team win. Both sides were logged at 2-2 at the end of the regulation time. India took lead in the match twice through Nikhil Thimaya and Sadbir Singh. However, the Koreans managed to equalize minutes later of each goal. Indian tennis star Sania Mirza earned a world #1 ranking in women's doubles today after winning the WTA Family Circles Cup final. She partnered Martina Hingis to beat Casey Delacroix and Darija Durack 6-0, 6-4. She is the first Indian woman player to reach the ranking. Commonwealth Games gold medalist shooter Jeetu Rai won a bronze at the ISSF World Cup in Korea today. Jeetu Rai aggregated a total of 181.1 points to finish third. Now, this is Jeetu's 7th medal in international events following a run that started last June. Former Australian captain and commentator Richie Benaud's family has declined a proposal for a state funeral to the legend. According to media reports, Benaud's widow telephoned the Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott to decline the government's offer. Now, Benaud would be remembered in a private funeral attended only by his immediate family. He died at the age of 84 on Thursday after battling skin cancer. Lewis Hamilton helped Mercedes reassert their authority over Ferrari in a dominant display at the Formula One Chinese Grand Prix today. Hamilton won the race ahead of his teammate Nico Rosberg. Hamilton's second win in 3 races allowed him to extend his lead at the top of the championship standings. He now has 68 points, with Sebastian Vettel in second position on 55 points and Nico Rosberg on third position with 51 points. Well, that's all that we could pack in this edition of News Tonight. Thanks for watching and good night.